This is Wendell Kelly, man. This is Leverage Your Life. Hello, guys. Welcome to Leverage Your Life podcast. I'm Wendell Kelly. I'm here with a special guest today. This podcast is about leveraging your life. This podcast is about leveling up in life and using your life as leverage to level up in life. I'm here with a special guest today. Her name is Barbara Bonds. Barbara Bonds and I friends. We go back a long way back. For years we started out working together for a while. She's extremely intelligent, guys. I want you guys to give a round of applause in your house to Barbara Bonds. Barbara, introduce yourself if you can.
So I'm Barbara J. Barnes. I am a mother. I am a real estate agent, a real estate investor, and I'm an educator, and I love what I do.
Yes. Listen, this is going to be a very special project because Barbara, I'm telling you, she was just giving me game right before we got in here. She's like, I got this going on, got that going on. And I'm like, look, Barbara, say some of that stuff for the camera. So, Barbara, look, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little background on myself and Barbara relationship, actually. So, years ago, I've been doing real estate like 10, 11 years now. It's so funny that the time went by so fast. But I did real estate at one brokerage for about 3 years. Then I switched over to another brokerage, which is Greg Bennett. You guys seen him on one of my podcasts before. His brokerage, you know, and he's still my mentor. He's a great guy. And I started like gaining traction a little bit in the company, and Greg started to like me. And I guess Barbara kind of like took heed in that. And Barbara's an aggressive person. So she sees somebody moving up, she try to put her hands or put her claws into you. So she seen me, she's like, Wendell, I think we should have a meeting. She wanted to have a meeting to sell me her products, but she's gonna try to sell you guys herself. So she wanted to sell me her products, her probate stuff. And I think that when we started to talk, she kind of like took a liking to me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, was that true? Did you say? Yeah, so she took a liking to me, and then we started partnering up. And so she taught me. She told me there's not a lot of people that's going to come in this podcast that taught me a lot, you know, because I am kind of self-development. But Barbara taught me about the probate system and you know, just how to, she actually told me systems. I was telling somebody the other day, I didn't know anything about systems until Barbara was like, you got to have your system in place. I think we was using like Market Leader or something like that. Yeah, what was it, Market Leader or something?
It was either, I think, because Market Leader was with.
No, it was with the brokers. It was something else.
Follow-up Boss.
No, it wasn't Follow-up Boss. Podio, exactly. We was using Podio. It was like a dry CRM, but we was using it. She told me that was the first CRM I ever used. And, you know, so I had to tip my head off to her to teach me about systems. Now, systems is my life. But yeah, Barbara, that's our background, man. So now I'm excited to have her here. Can you tell everybody your background about you?
Okay, I've quit my job, guys. I'll start with that. At 26 years old, I had 2 daughters. My baby was maybe about 8 or 9 months, and my oldest daughter was about maybe 9 years old. I've pretty much been an entrepreneur my entire life. When I was growing up in Capitol Heights, I have 4 brothers. I'm the only girl, and my mother was a single parent. So we didn't have money to eat. So we had to sell donuts on the side of the road every Saturday and Sunday to get money for the house. So my sales skills started when I was in elementary school.
Nice.
So the way it worked was we would sell the donuts, right?
Mm-hmm. And
then we would give our mother the money from the actual donuts, but the donations were ours.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
I had a cousin, her name was Latrice, she was 1 year older than me. We always had a competition every week, like who's going to make the most money.
Nice.
So I was probably like in the 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. I would make like $200 to $300 a week.
Yeah.
So we would go up to the cars, ask them, did they want to buy a box of donuts? They would say no. Then I would say, well, would you like to give a donation?
Oh, really?
Right. I never told people that I was getting money for our household. I never said that. I kind of made stories up. Okay. I would say, well, you know, this person, we're doing this for a football team. I don't know, I just came up with these ideas in my head. And when I started getting donations, I started to get happy, right?
Yeah.
But the kind of like the caveat with it was my mother didn't really have that much financial literacy, so I would go shopping with the money, right? I never saved the money.
Right.
But so that happened in my life. And then as I, you know, went up in elementary school, up in grades, like now I'm in the 6th grade, I started to feel embarrassed because people would laugh at me like, oh, you're on the side of the road selling donuts.
Right. I used to sell donuts.
You did?
I used to sell.
Krispy Kreme.
Was we selling donuts? I think we were selling donuts for football. It was for football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But your mom was just
She-
had, okay. Yeah.
We would go up Route 1 in Virginia to the Krispy Kreme, and then they would like make the donuts. We would like dip it in the chocolate, the sprinkles, and all of that.
Yeah, no,
stuff.
we didn't do all that. So we had, we had a football coach that used to bring the donuts and have us set it for. I think he was just kind of like skimming off the top. Really, to be honest, we supposed to get our uniform, but our jerseys, but they already had like used jerseys and used football equipment they gave it to us. So I think he was just putting that money in his pocket.
Yeah.
But it sounded like you had a good development. I want to hear your story. I'm interested.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We did this for years.
Yeah.
So we did it for years. My aunt got into the business. My mother, what she would do was we would go to Virginia, we would load the back of our trunk up, and then my mother loved Chuck Brown.
Okay.
So she would literally have cars lined up to buy the donuts.
Yeah.
So that was her clientele. So she served her clientele, and we just went out on the street, right there on Silver Hill Road.
I got you.
Like right there where I think it was like a Burger King, all that, you know what I'm talking about, in District Heights. So we did that for years, and then I got embarrassed because people would see me on the street.
It's more like Silver Hill in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Silver Hill in Pennsylvania, yeah. And then I was like telling my mother, like, I felt embarrassed. Like, people are laughing at me, I'm selling donuts, and it wasn't sexy. Right. So I stopped it through embarrassment. But I learned in business that people are going to laugh at you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't want to cut you off, but I hear it all the time. I hear people get nervous about like changing their diet, which I want to talk about because you have did a good job with your health. Changing their diet or just doing things that's uncommon, and because people laugh at you. Well, the reason why I said diet because I did something myself. Changed my diet, so I did the vegan thing just to do it, it wasn't really about the diet, it was more about mentally, right? So it was a mental thing, and then I did this thing, the program 75 Hard. You ever did that before? Ever heard of that? Mm-hmm. The 75 Hard is like a mental toughness program, but you cut out like whatever, no alcohol and all this, and working out and stuff like this. So I was telling people that, and they was laughing like, why do you want to do this? That's crazy, I'm going to drink, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to do all that. But when you start doing it, and they start seeing your progress. I'm like, can you tell me more about that program? People do that all the time, man. So like, can you tell me more about that? Well, I'm about to start doing it myself. Because there's people they laugh at you and tease you because it's more like a self-reflection. Exactly. It's more about what they see in the mirror. They like, you know what? If I can't do it, so I know you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it because then you're gonna make me look embarrassed, right? So, but it's good like for people in the future when that's listening to our podcast, if they want to do something, just do it. Because they're going to influence everybody around them. Everybody around, they're going to see you changing. They're going to be like, I don't like the change. But really, they watching. And they watching to see you fail. But if they see you winning, then they're going to gravitate to you. And they're going to be thankful for you the rest of your life. But I'm sorry to keep going.
That's the fact. I mean, that's the fact. So I could, with the health and fitness, that's another thing that I absolutely love. Right. So I did a bodybuilding competition, and so let me tell you how I got into the gym. I seen this girl who I was in my brokerage. She was working. I was like, well, I want to work out with her. Yeah. So when I started to work out with her, I'm like, you work out with like bodybuilders. Yeah. So I didn't know that a woman could be a bodybuilder. They was like, you should do a bikini show. You could be a bodybuilder. Yeah. I'm like, what? I thought it was just men, like big men. I didn't know that there was a whole world. Right. So they was like, well, you have to get on a meal plan. Mm-hmm. So I thought about it. Right. My goal when I went to the gym was to just look good. Right. So it took me about 6 months to wrap my head around what I was going to get into. So I told my trainer, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a show. Right. If all I have to do is eat this way, and I love working out anyway, I'm going to do it. But I pretty much jump head first into stuff. Yeah, I don't even think, I just be like, what did I get myself into? I love that. Yeah. So I get myself into this world. And it is mentally challenging, okay? Because we can't have sweets. We only can get one meal that's not on our meal plan. It can't be cheese. It couldn't be cheese. It couldn't be, pizza, macaroni and cheese. We can't have fried food. Like our meal plan is what it is, right?
So they give you a meal plan.
So they give you a meal plan. Nice. Well, I hired a nutritionist for the prep. Yeah. So what happens is the goal is to cut as much fat as possible, right? So I had to have the mental fortitude to really like push myself. So what happens is you're looking at the scale pretty much every week. You have to check in with your fitness trainer every single week. So you're doing all this work and then the scale is not moving.
Right.
So the question is, do I quit because I don't believe in this process, or do I just keep going? That has taught me the biggest lesson of my life is just to let go.
Yeah.
Literally, once I let go, I was like around I was originally like 160.
Let go of what?
Just let go of everything. Just be free. Like, cause I kept thinking like, this is not going to work.
So funny. Yeah.
This is not going to work. I don't want to do it no more.
Right.
It's not working. I don't believe in it.
Right.
But I had to let all of those doubts go.
Right.
And just say, hey, you know what? I said I was going to reach a goal. If I get to the destination and I'm not where I want to be body-wise, I still did what I said I was going to do. I don't know what the result is going to look like. I kept thinking that, like, I can make the thing happen, but I couldn't. It was my spirit that had to make it happen. Because once I let go, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do everything that my nutritionist tells me to do, everything my trainer tells me to do, and I'm just going to do it, and whatever happens, happens. That's when I mean let go. My body came out, like, beautifully. I couldn't believe it. And it was I went through a lot. I went through a lot mentally, you know, to make that happen. Cutting out, you know, cold turkey, cutting out all of the sweets,
all the bad stuff.
I could, you know, I only could drink black coffee. I couldn't drink no sugar, none of that. And that was about almost 4 months of my life, and it has changed me. Like, it's nothing that I can't do.
I believe that. So I mean, that's another thing. The reason why I like the 75 hard. I mean, it's not 4 months. That's basically 3 months. But it's the same thing. But but yours is a little bit more intense because you're working out 3 times a day. That is 2 times a day for 75 hours. So 3 times, and you're doing a more stricter diet plan, which is real good. But I always tell people all the time the same exact thing, that it got to start with your spirit first. I tell people that all the time. I tell my daughter this all the time. Gotta start with your spirit, then your mind gotta be into it. It gotta be your mind, then your physical, and this is with anything in life. Like anything in life. If you get your spirit right, your mental right, and then your physical, everything else gonna fall in place. Finances gonna fall in place, your relationships will fall in place, whatever it is, because you feel right with yourself first. You know, but if your spirit, your soul all kind of jacked up, or your mind all jacked up, then everything will fall apart. I done seen it myself. I done witnessed it myself. When my soul wasn't in the right place, things just start falling apart. I love that though, Bob. I love that for you.
It's real.
Yeah.
And that's the same for business. So, as I was stating before, I quit my job when I was 26. At the time, I was working at CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I was a government contractor, and I was doing consumer response, right? So, I'm pretty smart. I learned how to do my whole job in like 2 hours. So I just automated. It's crazy because I didn't know that I was a systems person.
Right. Yeah. You told me that.
In that realm. So I just like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. So while I'm doing all of this stuff, I'm gonna be out shopping, right? Because we worked downtown and we had the Nordstrom's ride, Saks, and all of that. So then, me being in that space, in that job, a lot of my coworkers were buying houses. So I'm 24. I'm not thinking about buying a house. They was like, well, you should just try. I was like, okay, sure, I'll try. So I had like a 620 credit score. So I had to raise my score up 20 points to be a 640. And it happened relatively slow. I just had to add a credit card because I didn't have that many trade lines. And then my score went up, and then I got a pre-approval for like $100 and something thousand. I was like, oh my God, I could buy a house. So I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, okay, well, I don't want to be kind of in my apartment because we kept having leaks and stuff. So I'll just buy a house. So literally like 45 days later, I was in a house. When I bought my house, I was pregnant. It was in the wintertime. My baby. The baby. This was in 2014. They stole copper. They stole the egg coil. So when I bought the house, it was a foreclosed home. I didn't have any heat or air.
Wow, I think you told me that.
Yes. And my agent was some trash. So that's what propelled me to get into real estate, because I'm on the phone with her. Like, if y'all don't give me my money, I'm walking away. They end up giving me a credit for the stuff that was stolen. And I closed. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get into real estate. I thought real estate was just, you just take people out and show them houses.
That's what I thought.
And it opened my mind to who I have become today, because it's more of the self-discovery in being an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So for me, I closed my first deal in like 3 months, and then I closed another one another 3 months. So I had this fire. I'm sure you guys have heard of, and I'm sure you felt it.
Yeah.
This fire that was burning so deep.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I cannot do this job no more. I told myself, I
Oh,
said,
yes.
I said,
It's about working for someone.
yes.
Absolutely.
I said,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
26. I said, if I quit my job and it doesn't work out, I can always get another job.
Yeah.
I said, but I have to only be 26 one time.
Right.
So I just became a full-time entrepreneur.
I love it.
I just went head first.
Head first. What they say, burn the bridge behind you.
Yes.
That's the best way to do it. So how was the journey so far?
It was.
So it's been a while now for you, but obviously, how was the journey? Yeah.
I would say it's very rewarding, but it was very spiritual. It was very hard.
It is.
A lot of self-discovery.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, we hear about a lot of self-awareness. I hear about people talking about becoming self-aware. Being an entrepreneur, well, you're going to have to become self-aware.
It's going to make you. It's going to make you. It is. So I'm going to tell you something. For me, I tell people all the time, it's like, to me, entrepreneur is like, you got to be kind of like bipolar a little bit. I mean, it's like bipolar because at one moment it's great, and the next moment so it's like a roller coaster all the time. But I tell them, I'd take this road any day than going back to work for someone, because I just know the difference. Them highs are really high, you know. And then it's like something a great feeling just to know this is yours, that you did this, you know, so rewarding. And then it impacts everybody around you, and that's the most important thing to me. Is that when I know that what I'm doing, that I'm living in my purpose, when I impact other people, not just me. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's most important. But yeah, Bob, I love that. I want to hear more.
So I tell people. So I've had team members ask me should they quit their job, and I tell people you should only do it if that's what God has placed on your spirit. You should not do it because someone else is quitting their job, right? Because it takes a huge responsibility. So for me, when I quit my job, I actually had a whole year of savings so I had my house.
So you did do that. You did have a whole year savings. That's good.
I had a whole year savings. And I didn't have to worry about money for a year. So I'm like, well, if I could hurry and figure this thing out in 6 months, not knowing it's a lifetime worth of learning, I could be successful.
Yeah.
So I closed my first 2 buyers, and then I started to feel like, well, I'm a high D8 personality. I'm like straight to the point. I don't. I had to learn empathy, right? So I felt like when I worked with sellers, they would gel with me more. I just started cold calling. And I was so scared the first call. I started cold calling, got my first listing. It was in condo in Gaithersburg, 100 and some thousand. Boom, closed that. Then I learned about probate. I was introduced to probate by another colleague. In 4 months, I wholesaled my first deal for $20,000.
Nice, look at you.
And then after that, it was like all she wrote. But then what happened? But then what happened in the journey was I moved so fast that I missed a lot of things. I didn't have a strong foundation. So then it took, at least 2 years, fast forward out of my life to rebuild, to figure out who I am, what I stand for. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You can always stop and start. But you want to make sure when you restart that you actually start on a solid foundation.
Absolutely. And so I learned that constantly, Barbara. So I'm just like you. I'm kind of just like you, because I'm always stopping and starting and readjusting. So I constantly got to remind myself that I need to create a foundation. So now that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Foundation first. Like, I don't care what we about to launch. Like, I'm doing this. I was just telling you about my financial advisor company. Like, I'm full press on that, full steam ahead. But I'm like, listen, we're not marketing hard until we got everything ready. Everything got to be there. So once we start pushing hard, I mean, obviously I still do it. We do well with it. But once we start doing the real big push, it's not gonna be any problems. You gotta. So I love the fact that you just jump out there, and then we do like you did. You see income, and you see the benefits, but then you get so much of it, and things just start falling off. You're like, man, I ain't know this was gonna happen. Then everything fall off. Then a lot of things fall off. Then everything falls off. You're like, so one wheel fall off, then the whole car break down. Right? Am I right or wrong?
You're right. It's a lot of sacrifice. So I tell people, I became really successful in my first year in business. I made multiple 6 figures every year in business since I've been in business.
That's beautiful.
But the problem was I had 2 daughters at home, and I was a single parent. A lot of my time was spent in the office late at night. Anybody that knows me, When I was like in my second year of business, I got my own office because I need my own space. I need my own little mind think tank. I call it a think tank. And I spent a lot of money on a lot of things. But I spent a lot of time on my business, but not at home. So as I'm moving fast and I'm successful in this area was lacking.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of being married or having, you know, a significant other or partner to help with the family. So then I had to stop everything that I was doing when I got to a certain point. And I'm like, I don't want my children to remember me only working. I really need to create memories with them because they're precious.
For sure.
And it took a lot out of me. And then that's when my 6 figures kind of dwindled down because I was like, you know what? My children is bigger than money.
Right.
So then I more so grew as a woman, as a person. Like, okay, they're going to be successful because I'm here imparting in them. But if I'm not here, who's going to teach my children?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, that's really important to me. And the financial piece is really important. I think it's important that we take action and we do these things that we have to do. But we also have to be in tune with our spirit and know when it's time to slow down or when it's time to speed up.
My core value things is family, obviously. Is family, fitness. I'm not like you, but I gotta exercise. I exercise every single day. I eat clean every single day. Same things with fitness. Gotta have my mental health together. And there's a few other things. Like it's like 7 things that I wrote down. And I learned that, like I studied that myself through therapy. We understand like what makes one day happy, what makes one day happy, and it's not just one thing. So you gotta always pay attention to those things. Like, all right, my business good, or where's that? Let me check in on this part. Let me check on this part. And you gotta keep going in that circle. So now you gotta enjoy the process. And when you enjoy the process, you stay happy. But as soon as something fall off, and because you ain't been working on it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like for me, I'm never afraid. Like I've had months where I didn't make a commission. That doesn't, like I'm not never worried about money. I'm not scared. I'm just unshaken. It's just like what will be, right?
Exactly,
But I know my God-given talents and my capabilities, so I'm never worried. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, this is where I am today. This is what it's going to be right now. And just operating at a high level and integrity and having phenomenal service makes a difference.
I love that, man. I love that. So we got a deal right now. Barbara blowing me up on this call every 8 o'clock Sunday morning. And she sound like she a godly woman and she ain't in church. She texting me 8 o'clock Sunday morning. So she on it. I like that. I like that about you. All right, so I'm going to tell you what I'm trying to get you to. So she told me about probate as well. So she told me about 3 things. Probate. No, it was 3. I mentioned probate. So probate, systems, and virtual assistant. Those are the 3 things you told me about.
Yes.
So she was just telling me before she came in that she's really good with probate. She got a new product coming out. So tell people about probate, and then we can talk about anything else. But tell people about probate and why it's important and how whatever you got about probate. Yeah.
Okay, so I am the founder of the Academy of Probate for Real Estate. It is a platform where it teaches real estate agents and real estate investors how to find probate deals and how to really help the personal representatives throughout the probate process. So probate is pretty much when a person passes away, right? Anybody can pass away, which we all will do, right?
All of us will.
And I love to talk about death, right? What happens is we have assets, not only real property, but we have jewelry, we have personal property. And if you don't have either like a trust or some type of entity set up, you have to go through the court process called probate, okay? You can get a will, right? You can file a will, you can have a will. A will still has to go through probate, still has to go through the court process, right? You can always avoid probate, but only 33% of people in America actually have a will.
Right.
So what is a will? A will is just pretty much someone wishes how they want their assets or their belongings to be distributed when they pass. And a lot of people don't have that.
Right.
So what I do is help sellers in that process sell their real property And it's a certain way that you have to deal with them because they're going through so much. So the Academy of Probate is really to teach people how to make money, right? Because it is about making money too, but also being a real resource to someone that's going through a hardship in life. So when a person becomes a personal representative of an estate, meaning of someone's deceased estate, that personal representative has to take care of the decedents all of their bills, right?
So personal representative, what is that?
A personal representative is someone who is in charge of administering a decedent's estate, right? Let's just say your great-great-great, I wanted to be far, your great-great-great-grandmother passed away or something like that, and she had all this property and stuff. It has to be a responsible party to, you know, distribute those assets via the will or via, you know, the state mandate, right? Those laws in that county or whatever like that. So the personal representative is pretty much in charge of everything that that person owns and, you know, distributing whatever it is. So being a personal representative, the person now has to take care of the deceased bills, right? Just because a person passes away, you still owe your credit cards.
I tell people that all the time.
You still have car loans. You still have debt, right? And creditors, they want their money.
I don't care who it is, right?
Whether you're living or whether you're dead, they want their money. So that PR is the person who's responsible for taking care of all of those affairs, right? So you have to think about it. People don't become the PR every day. They still have their own mortgages and stuff. Then they have the deceased stuff. So it gets very overwhelming. The biggest asset typically for like the normal American is a house, right? So a credit card doesn't necessarily have to get paid now. It can get paid later. But if you don't pay your property taxes, then you're going to go through a tax sale. And people don't want to necessarily lose a house, you know, in probate. So the personal representative spends a lot of their resources, if the deceased didn't have any resources, they spend their own resources to make sure the house is up and things like that. Then it gets very overwhelming and it becomes a financial burden and they have to sell. So that's where we come in as the real estate professionals in the probate process. What I love about probate is being a real estate agent and also being a real estate investor. It's the opportunity to make money on different facets of the deal, right? You can make 3 to 4 sides of a deal. Like the most I've made off of probate is I actually flipped the house on probate. The house was $70,000 and I resold it for $227,000.
Nice.
Right?
$130,000, right? Then you did more.
Yeah, I did a whole lot more. The biggest deal I did was like $1.6 million.
Nice.
Sold it to my investor, 6%, right? Two sides of that deal. Then we resold it for 1.6, and then I made the commission off that.
Nice, look at you,
right? So the goal is to make sure, like, if you're a realtor, that you're maximizing the opportunity, because we already know how this business is. It could be a little fickle, it could be up and down. So if I get an opportunity, I want to make sure that I'm maximizing everything.
I know. You told me that before, like, why you ain't send that deal to me? She said, I could have got more for that. Yeah, that's good. So probate. I'm just thinking about this. So your academy is actually teaching. I'm just reiterating what you're saying. So they're actually teaching realtors or agents or anybody that's trying to get to the investment business on how to operate in the probate, and so teaching them how to be, I guess, shepherds to the people that's the personal representative, right?
Exactly.
Does it also teach personal representatives and what to do, or is it just like a partnering type of thing?
I like that you said that, because I had this idea probably like a week ago. I wanted to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to have some attorneys and some financial advisors come in, and we're going to do a course for sellers. Because a lot of sellers really, they kind of know, but they kind of don't know. And they kind of want opinions other than their attorney. You know what I'm saying? To look to for advice. So I'm happy you said that.
That's good. Let's get it started, Barbara. So I'm glad that you mentioned that all of the bills get left on the personal representative, and the creditor is going to steal one of their money regardless. So that's why it's important for me. I always mention is that you got to have like life insurance. You got to have things to protect that type of stuff, because when you die, those bills are going to get put on your loved ones, you know? So life insurance is a vehicle that covers that. You can have different types of life insurance depending on how it's structured. What you think about life insurance?
I love life insurance. Actually, I have policies. The thing about life insurance, what I love the most is you can avoid probate if the beneficiary is a trust or some type of entity. So probate is technically for an individual, a person, right? Your personal property, your personal
Right.
items. But if you have a life insurance policy and now the trust is the beneficiary, when you pass, you don't have to worry about that life insurance policy, those
Right.
proceeds going through probate.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure. The
And
trust is important.
Yeah, that's one way you can avoid it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's clear enough. So I think that everyone got it. This is why it's important to me, Barbara, because you know my people, and that's why I really got into the financial advisor. My people don't know anything about this stuff at all. You know,
Yeah.
we was taught, and that's why I'm not just a realtor anymore, because we was taught the basics: go to school, get a house, and die, basically, right? So never setting up the foundation like we just mentioned. Never talking about having life insurance in place. Never talking about having trust in place. These are the things I've learned.
It's important that people know that being successful takes time.
Absolutely.
It's a process. It's never quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you really have to invest in yourself.
For sure.
You know, when you're first starting out, you kind of don't know. Maybe you're trying to figure out what your brand looks like. But it's important that you start projecting yourself and how you want to show up in the world. And we're not talking about the superficial, fake stuff.
Yeah,
like, I got this and I got that. No, like, really, what's your legacy? You know?
Yeah.
And really investing in yourself, in your education, in your growth, in your development, because that's what's going to make people want to work with you.
Absolutely.
And do business with you and actually respect you.
I was telling my daughter, not business wise, so my daughter, I want to share it on the camera. But anyway, my daughter had a boyfriend recently, right? And I hate that. I wanted to beat him up. I'm like, you know, it happens. And so she not old enough to me, but she's in that age where they can have a boyfriend, but boyfriends come into play, and she's like, Dad, I got one. What you gonna do? Basically, like, so. Anyway, they broke up or whatever, and she's like, the reason why I didn't broke up, and I appreciate this. She said because he didn't know how to love me, and I'm like, so the biggest thing that came to my mind is, do you know how to love yourself?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So what you just said just now is like, you gotta focus on yourself, love yourself, and what you just say, develop yourself, right? That's most important. I'm like, you need to. That's my daughter homework for relationships. Before you move into your next one, you need to learn yourself. What do she? I don't know how to find out what I love to do. I mean, how to love myself. I said, every time that you smile, think about that. That's what's making you happy.
Right.
Whatever it is that, all right, now I'm smiling because of candy. Maybe you need to get into a candy store. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is. So you need to lean into whatever make you happy. But that's one part about relation. I mean, just life, loving yourself. But then business and everything else falls in line with the same principles. Like, focus on yourself first, and then everybody will come to you. And that's another thing what made me think about it, is that I said that another man or a boy, he gonna see that you love yourself, and that's gonna be attractive to him. Just like you saying with your business, like they see that you are a reflection of your business. People want to work with you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
it's the same thing. Everything in life is pretty much the same, you know. But it starts with you.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I agree with that principle.
You know, we really have to like invest in ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And that invest doesn't always mean money.
That's right.
You know what I'm
finances.
saying?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, like for me, like I have a love for going to the gym, like bodybuilding, like
absolutely.
lifting heavy ass weights. Like we be lifting, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So now I want to do like yoga and Pilates because I really need, because you know when you're like lifting weights, your body gets tight.
Yeah.
So you gotta like, you know, get all of your knots out, and you gotta stretch. So I'm like, okay, I want to do this now.
Yeah.
So it's just really.
I think that's important.
I mean, and when you love yourself, you know, and when you're like so strong on who you are, it's gonna be hard for people to kind of like knock you off your horse. Because
like, how can you hurt me?
Because I have people who come like, why you like this? I tell like my clients before they work with me, I'm like, look, I'm a high D personality. I'm not as empathetic as you probably think I should be. You can let me know. If you tell me you want to get something done, I'm going to get it done. This is how I am. This is how you can win with me, and this is how you lose with me. And then I ask them the same questions, and I already pretty much know their personality because I already dissected who they are. Okay, well, you know, how do you want me to communicate with you? How do I win with you? How do I lose with you? Because it's called boundaries. So I love when people have healthy boundaries because I know my limits.
Absolutely.
But if I don't know my limits and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, then it could come off disrespectful.
Absolutely.
So I tell my clients, you're getting me. So I need to get you, because if I know more about you, then we can work harmoniously. But this is what you can expect from me. And then just deliver and deliver and deliver. So being so sure about who you are is like so valuable.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of people, they like, I don't know, like some people think I got to be like a billionaire. Like, do you really, do you know the responsibility that comes with that?
Right.
Like,
You don't even know what to do with that money.
Right.
For what? I mean, $1 billion is cool. Like you said, it's a responsibility. $1 billion is cool if that's what you desire, but why do you desire? What is it? What's the reason? What are you trying to do with this $1 billion? You know.
Right.
So I'm always about impacting others. So if I had $1 billion, it'd be about spreading that money to influence other people. You know. But everybody don't know what they want. They just think that's what they want, and they think that materialistic things that they see online or whatever it is gonna make them happy. That's not it. Like you, like fitness is your thing, and it's also my thing. It's a part of my thing. But it could be whatever it is, you know. Yeah. Some people just like being with nature, you know, and spending their time with that. But if you're happy with that, then everything else in life doesn't really matter, you know, as long as you're happy.
I agree.
Yeah. I like that, Barbara. So, what's next for Barbara? We're going to wrap this thing up. What's next for Barbara, and what can we do to sign up for this Academy of Probate?
So you can just visit the academyofprobate.com.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next for me is just more speaking engagements. I really love helping to communicate value and developing who you are. Yeah. And, you know, teaching people how to express themselves to get what they want. Yeah. So you can just hear me speaking, you know, running my mouth a little bit.
Yeah,
running my mouth.
I watch you on social media. How can find you on social media? People can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We'll be finding you on social media because I like it. I like looking at you sometimes. You motivational. With your workouts, with some of the things you say, that's important.
Yeah, I'm Barbara J. Barnes, just Barbara J. Barnes on all platforms.
Yeah, okay.
And BarbaraJBarnes.com. So, you know, that's pretty much it. Just, you know, building a real estate team, building a brokerage, right? That's coming soon, the brokerage part of it. And, you know, the Academy of Probate, and really just now just giving the world me. You know, that's what's coming.
Being natural. I love it.